Mark Twain Selected Works. Advice to Youth. Speech. April 15th, 1882. Being told I would be expected to talk here, I inquired what sort of talk I ought to make. They said it should be something suitable to youth, something didactic, instructive, or something in the nature of good advice. Very well, I have a few things in my mind which I have often longed to say for the instruction of the young. For it is in one's tender, early years that such things will best take root and be most enduring and most valuable. First, then, I will say to you, my young friends, and say it beseechingly, urgingly, always obey your parents when they are present. This is the best policy in the long run, because if you don't, they will make you. Most parents think they know better than you do, and you can generally make more by humoring that superstition than you can by acting on your own better judgment. Be respectful to your superiors, if you have any. Also to strangers and sometimes to others. If a person offend you and you are in doubt as to whether it was intentional or not, do not resort to extreme measures. Simply watch your chance and hit him with a brick. That will be sufficient. If you shall find that he had not intended any offense, come out frankly and confess yourself in the wrong when you struck him. Acknowledge it like a man and say you didn't mean to. Yes, always avoid violence. In this age of charity and kindliness, the time is gone by for such things. Leave dynamite to the low and unrefined. Go to bed early, get up early. This is wise. Some authorities say they get up with one thing, some with another. But a lark is really the best thing to get up with. It gives you a splendid reputation with everybody to know that you get up with the lark, and if you get the right kind of a lark and work at him right, you can easily train him to get up at 9:30, every time. It is no trick at all. Never handle firearms carelessly. The sorrow and suffering that have been caused through the innocent but heedless handling of firearms by the young. Only 4 days ago, right in the next farmhouse to the one where I am spending the summer, a mother, old and gray and sweet, one of the loveliest spirits in the land, was sitting at her work when her young son crept in and got down an old, battered, rusty gun which had not been touched for many years and was supposed not to be loaded, and pointed it at her, laughing and threatening to shoot. In her fright, she ran screaming and pleading toward the door on the other side of the room. But as she passed him, he placed the gun almost against her very breast and pulled the trigger. He had supposed it was not loaded, and he was right, it wasn't. So there wasn't any harm done. It is the only case of the kind I ever heard of. Therefore, just the same, don't you meddle with old unloaded firearms. They are the most deadly and unerring things that have ever been created by man. You don't have to take any pains at all with them. You don't have to have a rest. You don't have to have any sights on the gun. You don't have to take aim even. No, you just pick out a relative and bang away, and you are sure to get him. A youth who can't hit a cathedral at 30 yards with a Gatling gun in 3/4 of an hour can take up an old empty musket and beg his mother every time, at 100. Think what Waterloo would have been if one of the armies had been boys armed with old rusty muskets, supposed not to be loaded, and the other army had been composed of their female relations. The very thought of it makes me shudder.